Welcome everybody. So I'm going to start the presentation. As I say, it's going to be in Unit 5 first, then we're going to go over to Unit 1. So I'm going to start, before I hand over to Dan, with the solar panels. So all of the units have solar panels on the roof, producing electricity. That electricity is DC initially, so it goes into this converter, which converts it to AC, okay? And what you've got here is, and you might, if you look carefully, you'll see a little red light that flashes. All right, so the faster that flashes, the more electricity is being produced. So it's a brighter, sunnier day, the faster that flashes. So what that do is, as I say, it's converted into AC, and then that delivers it into this MCB here. So you're getting obviously the beneficial use then of the power provided by the photovoltaics.
Hi, I'm Danny, the electrician from Barlow's. Today I'm talking you through the section panel for Unit 5. This is where all of our sub-mains are switched and protected to do our distribution board from the office and from the warehouse. As you can see here, we've got spare ways for future-proofing and future installs. If you follow me over to the warehouse board, this panel is split up for warehouse power that controls the roller shutter doors, car chargers. It has the AC condenser outside protected on this board. Then we have lighting. Now this does all the external lighting, so building mounted fittings and lamppost columns. We can override them with this override switch here, which we have a two-way to the office. This is a time clock assembly with contactors, so we can set the time from here, and it's actually on a photo cell, so the lights won't come on until it goes dark, so it requires for different times of the year. These are emergency test key switches. As you can see, the running men are above the door. We can flick these switches to make sure the battery life is still safe on the emergency lights. Our last panel is in the office. So here we are at the office distribution board. Same again, same system. We've got a power side to the board, and we've also got lighting. This is protected by a surge protection device and has metering kit, as do all of our boards throughout this installation. If you can come around here, you'll see a bank of key switches. They are to switch and test every emergency light on and emergency circuits throughout the building. And that's us.
Hi, I'm Ben from Barlow's. I'm going to show you how to use the fire alarm system and what to do in the event of a fire. Usually the panel will just say panel healthy, so you know there's no faults on the system. And when you want to do a test on the system, you have to use one of these keys. We go over to one of the call points. You just lift up the little red cover at the bottom, and then you can put your key in and turn it clockwise. The yellow window will show by there, and you turn it back to reset the call point. So if you imagine that the sounders are still sounding, I've just silenced them for recording purposes. It'll tell you there that the fire is in zone 1, which you'll be able to check on the zone plan. And it will tell you exactly MCP, which is manual call points, and it will tell you exactly where the fire has started or wherever you've done your test. To reset the fire panel, I've already silenced it. Press the reset button and the system should go back to healthy. So in the event of it not being a test and the alarm just goes off, say it's a false alarm somewhere, go and investigate first where the fire is before silencing, because it could be a genuine fire alarm. In these boxes here, we keep the logbook. So this is for any engineers to note any works that have gone down, and any test history can all be noted in there as well. Going to explain how to use the disabled refuge system, just in case somebody is stuck on the stairs and they need help in the event of the lift not working. Go on, Dan, give us a call. See on here, it'll start ringing now, and it will tell you first floor. In the buildings that have got 2 floors, it'll say second floor. So. Hello? Hello? Do you need help up there? Perfect. So I could hear him loud and clear then. Obviously you can communicate both ways, just in case somebody is stuck on the stairs.
I'm George from Integrate Mechanical. I'm just going to show you on the mains cold water isolation. So this is your mains water to the entire building. Any water on this site can be isolated using that stopcock. So if you shut that off, your entire water supply to this building will be isolated and safe. The water comes through. This is your meter. It's digital repulsed outlet, and that is also fed to a water leak detection system. What this does is it reads what this meter is reading, and it also reads what the external meter is reading. And then if there's a difference between the 2 meters, like i.e. the outside one is doing more than the inside one, that indicates a leak. It would flag up on here, so the minute it says OK, as you can see on this bit, if it does go into fault and it does show a leak, it will identify on this display, and it also has an audible alarm as well. So that will go off. And on the water, so the valve up there, it's got the little dial on it. That's a pressure reducing valve. So you have high pressure here, so it's been dropped down to 2 bar. That can be adjusted if needed, but 2 bars where I'd leave it. And then you've got this connection here with this valve that can be isolated separately. And what that does, that feeds this Cat 5 booster set. So it's got all the air brakes and so on. What that does, it's got a bib tap in your bin store. But that's full Cat 5 booster set, so you get good pressure outside. But again, any issues with that, it can be isolated here. It's all off the same meter. And then the water feeds through into the office areas, which I'll show you them in a minute. And now we're in the cleaners cupboard of the ground floor of Unit 5. I'm just showing you how the hot water is supplied to the systems. So throughout the building, it's the same type of system. It's all electric point of use hot water heaters. So this one serves just this cleaner's sink. In the ground floor toilets, there is one heater that serves the entire ground floor toilets and disabled toilet. And on the first floor, there's again one that serves the toilets and so on, and then there's another one that serves the kitchens. And on the other units, it's the same as well. So on this one, there's four units on this one, sorry, and then on the others, 5 or 6. But these are all, we've got a little dial on the front that can be adjusted. So if you turn up to max, this red light comes on, which shows that it's kettling, so it's heating up the water. But we'd advise you to leave it in E, which is for eco. So if you leave it in E for eco, that should maintain it just over 60 degrees, and that will supply hot water out to your systems. It's about as simple as that one. And now we're in the disabled toilet of the ground floor. The water supply to each of these rooms has got a water solenoid valve on, which is linked to the lighting. So if anybody was to leave a tap running and leave the room, after 15 minutes when the light goes off, the water would also shut off, just to prevent any wastage. If you have a dripping tap, it's preventing wastage. So water only comes live when the light is activated and the valve is open. Just again in the ground floor disabled toilet, these are electric panel heaters which serve the toilet areas. They're all standalone with their own individual controls. So again, very simple. You can go into menu, choose your date, time, mode. So normally people go into mode and timer mode, and then you choose what you're going to do. So you would choose home all day because it's an office and you want it to be operating in the daytime and not at night time. So if you select that, that'll just mean that it'll run, say 9 till 5 or 8 till 5 every day, and then it'll shut off after. And each one is just the same, very simple units to use. If you want to change the temperature, it's simple as these arrows here. So you can just change it as that, and whatever you leave it on, it'll just stay at that and it'll carry on working at that each day. We're just up in the kitchen in the first floor. This tap here is a boiling hot water and chilled water tap, so a bit like a fancy kettle. The unit is actually within the cupboard, which will give you all the details on it here. So this one shows you the temperature of the hot water, so it's at 98 degrees C at the minute. Your chilled is between 6 and 10. This next one tells you your filter life, so that 99 is a percentage. Your filter is this cartridge here. When that gets to 0, it'll tell you that it needs changing. We are going to supply you with some spare ones of these. It's just like it just twists out, twist in, and then the energy, so you can change different settings if you choose to, and then to turn the unit off, you just go into the end one here and just click off. To operate the tap, so the cold water, you just hold the blue button, hold it down and you'll get chilled water. To operate the hot water, you need to cover this sensor here with your thumb or any other finger and then press the hot one. If you only press the hot one, it won't work. It's just a safety feature to prevent somebody from accidentally scalding themselves and making sure they do actually want the hot water. It's not a kid messing about. Sorry, on the zip taps, if you ever want to set a schedule on this, you come to this leaf button here with a little power button in it, and then here you've got systems, click on that arrow and through, and you can choose what you want to do, so weekends, weekdays. So here you can set a schedule from Monday to Friday. At the minute it's coming on at 7 AM and going off at 6, but this can be changeable to whatever you need, whatever you suit. And then you can click the tick, which sets it, and then that now, when you see here, the system will turn off at 5 PM and it'll come on at 7 AM in the morning. It'll just be a little bit more efficient. If you are out of hours, it may cause you a bit more difficulty. You might need to turn it off, but if you have a general rule of thumb where you know people aren't going to be in, you can set it.
I'm Richard from Integrated. I'm just going to demonstrate the air conditioning. All the units are identical to these. These are 4-way blow cassettes located in the ceiling. The Samsung systems that mean you can have one room in cooling, the other room can be in heating. They all work totally independently and they'll achieve the temperature that you set for them to do. The control panels give you 2 readouts. One is the set temperature that it's aiming for, and the other one is the current temperature within that room. You'll hear an audible sound when you power them on, and they'll spring to life. On the options here, the first option, if you press OK, that gives you the different functions for cooling, drying, fan only, heating or automatic. If you go for automatic mode and it goes above the temperature, it'll cool it down. If it goes below, it'll warm it back up to achieve the temperature you need. The next one over is the fan speed. Again, the options you've got there to what you want. And then the last one on that row is wind free. So if you ever want the grills closed, you'll see small perforations in the grills, and that will send a little bit of cool air through those perforations so people don't feel any drafts while they're sat working. The other thing you'll notice on the grill is some little numbers on each side. With this system you've also got the option to close 1, 2 or all of the vanes, or you can fix them at different positions based on where your desks are, mainly from your cassettes. Above the ceiling as well is some heat recovery ventilation systems. They're automatically controlled, which brings fresh air in, recovers any energy in the room. It's a really efficient system. So another setting that we'll fix for you as a client is if you want a working pattern of 7 AM to 7 PM, we can set that in this system here by going to your options and going to your schedules. That gives us lots of options, whether it's a holiday mode, whether you want lots of off timers after hours so nobody leaves it on. It can be turning off at 8 PM, 10 PM and midnight, coming on at 6 AM. We'll schedule that to exactly how you want it. And so it's really efficient and you're not wasting any energy at all. So
I'm just going to summarise a few bits and pieces and a bit of background information that we're going to leave, as well as O&M manuals, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, and as-built drawings. They're all going to be provided for you. Again, it's a BREEAM thing, but it's quite useful. We're going to provide every unit with what they call a BUG, a building user guide. So these are them pretty much completed as far as we can do. There is an input required from the tenants, and it pretty much describes what we've done here. It gives you photographs of the point of use heaters, it gives you photographs of the lifts and all the rest of it, and basic information on how they operate. So it's a bit of supplementary information to what we've given you today. Not as good as I think what this will be, but it's there and they will be provided. Okay, thank you. Deliver a bit of information on the roller shutter doors and the use of the dock levelers. So first of all, the doors. So opening them is fairly straightforward. Up arrow. Once it's got going, you can take your finger off and it'll open. So yeah, slightly different when shutting it, because obviously for safety reasons, as soon as you take your finger off, it'll stop. So you've got to be in control of it to shut it, so obviously you're not going to trap anybody. I'll just take that back up again. So the dock leveler, again, it's single button operation. Sorry, my fault. So once it gets to there, just take your finger off. Obviously it'll detect where the level of the lorry is and it'll stop. It'll go all the way down to the bottom. If there's no lorry there, it'll close and it'll stay like that until you just bring the dock leveler back up past the floor level. You'll hear it click. Just to say, it's not a lifting appliance, so you shouldn't use it for putting stuff on and lifting it. It is only a ramp, so I've just got to stress that. So I'll just shut the door again. Obviously it's got traffic lights on the outside, so at the moment this will be red, but obviously any that are available will have the green traffic lights on, and we can have a look at them in a minute. So I'll just shut it now. But as I say, you've got to keep your finger on the button with this one till it closes. Everybody okay with that? Chris? Okay.
Hi, I'm Dan, the electrician from Barlow's. We're looking at the landlord kiosk. This supplies the serviced lighting columns, so unit 1 and 2, and also the service lighting columns from 2 to unit 4. This is on a time clock contactor assembly, which will be put off a photo cell as well, similar to the same as the buildings. This particular board feeds the pump station. It will also feed the artwork and the site totem, and that's it for this particular panel.